The easiest way to make that referral conversation awkward is to surprise your homeowner at the end, right? So instead, what we want to do is we want to plant the seed and really introduce the program earlier, right? Something simple where you can say, Mr. and Miss Homeowner, one other thing I'll show you before I leave today is our rewards program. We actually reward homeowners who introduce us to their friends, their family, anybody who could benefit from the same kind of conversation we're having today. And that's all you need, right? We haven't asked for anything yet. We're simply planting the seed, let them know that, hey, we're going to come back to this later. And then when you do come back later on, we're just going to continue having a conversation, right? And I'm not introducing a new one. And so it's a really effective way to, again, plant the seed early, let them know what's happening. And then, of course, when it's time to make the ask, right? We talked about this earlier. We have to make the ask, right? It's just like assuming the sale. We're going to assume the referral. So when it's time to ask, we want to avoid things like, open-ended yes or no questions like, do you know anybody, right? Because no, as a homeowner, we all know this, guys. No is so easy to say, right? It's such an easy answer to just go, no, I don't know anybody. And instead, right, we want to sell the experience of what we're providing today, not the product. So something simple, again, like, Mr. and Miss Homer, you spent a lot of time with me today. Hopefully this was helpful. Who comes to mind that might benefit from having the same kind of conversation? And then if they need a little help, you can push them even further, right? Usually when I ask that, somebody immediately thinks of a neighbor, a friend, a family member, somebody who talked about our project already. So who came to mind for you? And all we're doing is we're helping them think about people, right? And we're certainly not asking them to qualify our next customer. All we want is that introduction. And then, of course, if your company offers a reward, absolutely use it, right? Don't make the reward the entire reason for the referral. Instead, we want to frame it the right way. Say something like, give me 3 names and we'll pay you. It's too transactional, right? It doesn't work. We want it to be more quid pro quo. So try something like, we want to reward you for making the introduction. But the bigger idea for us is simple. If somebody could benefit from the same experience, we want to make it easy for you to connect us. And then that reward creates the value, but the experience creates the referral, right? Of course, I know Darren mentioned this too, so I'm going to hit on it again. Once somebody gives you a referral, momentum absolutely matters, right? We don't want to treat a referral that we get today, something that we're going to follow up on Friday afternoon, right? It's got to be immediate. It's got to be quick. So we want to capture it while we're with our homeowner, and then take the next action. And of course, while we're doing this, we don't want to forget about the advocate or our homeowner. They just put their personal credibility on the line. A simple thank you goes a long way, right? If they give you names at the table, if you offer a discount for those names, just to, hey, I really appreciate you trusting me with your friends and family. I'm going to provide the same great experience that you got to them. And then lastly, y'all, again, if we're in sales, we're going to get a little bit of hesitation, right? The most common one we see all the time is, look, I don't want you blowing up my friend's phone. Totally understandable, right? It's 2026. I'm sure we all get inundated with cold calls, cold texts. And it's a great opportunity to explain the process, right? So, Mr. and Miss Homeowner, I totally understand. That's exactly why we have a consent process. We're not going to start calling them just because you gave us their information. They'll have the opportunity to decide whether they'd like to hear from us. Something super easy. Or maybe you'll get something like, I can't think of anyone. So that's okay. Keep it easy. No problem. Usually it's a neighbor, somebody in the family, or somebody at work that you've talked about your project with. And look, if nobody comes to mind right now, I'll show you how to share your QR code later on for referrals. And really, y'all, the theme behind all 6 of these tactics is really that, right?